The truth. What's going on, man? Looks like me and you are K Solo in this mug today. What's happening? All right, let's wait around for a second, see if we can get some other people in the building. Shout out to everybody. Enjoyed another great show, another wonderful show. I do believe Trail Boxing Talk's over. I thought I heard him closing it out. Yeah. Yeah, I heard him trill. Oh, there you go. There. What's going on, 78? Yeah, I want to make sure I didn't go on too early. There you go. All right, man. Let's talk about this. Great boxing talk again. 78 Sports TV. On that, damn, do I have fuck is my channel share so low? Damn. Anyway, situating myself. I feel like I gotta work on this camera angle or something. Make me feel short. All right, man. The truth. What's going on, man? Chef Boy ID, Goalkeeper 3000. Harold Jones, what's going on, man? Syndicate J, the goalkeeper. Denard Reed, what's going on? DB, the truth. Brothers UK, what's going on? Derlin James, what's happening? Jeff, the producer. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Yes, sir. What's happening with you? Salute. Jeff, Left Hook Larry, DB, Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. What's happening? The Goalkeeper 3000 said, I got you on, you got me on food? What's that? What's going on, Tony Dorr? 78, Marlon So Icy Sims, what's good, man? Yep, and hit that like on the way in. We got 87 people in the house so far. I'm quite sure people will come on in. I got a note. What a dude, Philip Redden, what's good? Everybody else, anybody else I didn't get in the chat, what's good? Oh, DeMar said Zeus was in there doing a dog fight slow show last night. Salute to the LDBC Sunny Boxing Talk. What's good, man? Salute to you as well, sir. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. We got 100 people in the building now. What's going on, Legendary Duke? Daryl Lightfoot, man, you need a wrench? Yeah, you don't need one. That is not a necessity. That's not a necessity. Let me see a little bit, man. Let me see. But I've had some drama with a couple wrenches lately. Because for some reason, people think they get wrenches and they literally own the wrench. Like, you took away my wrench. No, I didn't take away your wrench. I took back my wrench. But whatever, man. You got to live with it or don't live with it. It's going to be what it is. So I'm trying to be a little slower on the go with that because I've made some miscalculations, trust me, on them wrenches. This just goes to say, I ain't perfect. I'm not perfect. My wife hits me with a wrench. That's what's up. No, that's not what's up. That's a damn shame, man. You don't need your wife to slap me with a wrench. But look, man, I want to give somebody asked me what I thought about. First of all, 78 Sports TV. Let me go back. Let me start with this. That was a hell of an interview with Deontay Wilder. Man, a couple takeaways. I got it on some videos that I'm in the midst of producing. I recorded them this morning. I didn't have time. What's going on, Maurice McElroy? Shout out Team Crawford. I haven't had the chance to put them up yet because he said, how do I obtain a wrench, man? Dog, not like that. Because I think if you ask like that and I don't recognize your name, you're trying to hit me with something. You're trying to hit me with that wrench. Brian McKnight, much love in that super chat, man. Appreciate you so much, man. Don Zeby probably good. Okay, two more shows, Don Zeby, because I know you for true. Oh man, that sounds straight up New Orleans. I know you for true. All right, man. So 78 had on his channel yesterday. If you have not seen it, definitely listen to that interview. Before I talk about some of the things that he said, that Deontay Wilder said in that interview, man, I gotta say this, man. If Deontay Wilder ever listens to me, and I don't know if he doesn't. I know he listens to 78. He listens to some other cats. But dog, if you ever listen to me, man, please just speak the way you speak with 78 in the second half of that video. In the second half of the video, because it's a half-hour interview, listen to how Deontay Wilder sounds. I'm not talking about what he says. Listen to how he sounds in the first couple minutes, and then listen to how he sounds in the second half when he's just talking like he's in Alabama. I really wish that people, not just, this is no shot at the champ at all. This is me saying, once he just started talking like he would to his brother, his speech became so fluid and so easy to understand and so persuasive that I was really like, man, this guy is so bright. But I think what people make mistakes doing, and this is not just the chances, a lot of black people, specifically people from the South, people with heavy Southern accents try to adjust their accent to Northern so that Northern people can understand what they're saying. And I believe that they should never do it. I think you should speak with the way that you speak should be the way that you speak and make them try to understand you. If you would not, because there's no idea, I promise you, there is no idea that you don't know how, that's in your mind that you don't know how to express fluidly. But when you try to speak in a way that people tell you is proper, that's when shit gets twisted up. And there's a linguist, if you're familiar with there's this guy named Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky talks about a lot of political stuff, but what he really is a linguist. And his theory of the essence of what his theory about language is that we're born with language. Language is not something that you learn. Some language to us is like flying is to a bird. And there's a lot of rules that people like, a lot of grammatic rules that really are violations of the natural way people talk. So, say for example, Deontay Wilder said, "I bested, I bested him," or what he said was this. He said, "I betted him. I betted him. I betted on it." Right now, the proper way to say it, because somebody just developed the rule, is bet on it. But Deontay Wilder said it in the way that's natural. I betted on it because it's past tense. Why would you take the TED off of betted? You know, it's like him and me, like him and me, or me and him, or like me and him. Oh, he said me and him. It's not. It's Deontay and I. It's not me and Deontay. No, the way it works is the way that your mind works. It's me and it's him and me. This is literally what a linguist said. He's like, the way that you say that, the natural way to say it is him and me. It's him and me. And so, but then what he describes is, if you listen to Noam Chomsky, what he says is, what is proper is just dependent on the people that are powerful enough to enforce it on you. So he was like, look, if black people in the inner city ran the country, we would be speaking incorrectly, and they would be speaking correctly. So when I listened to that interview, and we'll get into the other things, when I listened to the way he spoke, I was like, okay, that's him. Like, his voice settled into a certain pitch, right? His fluidity increased tenfold. His ideas were very easy to understand. He could express whatever he wanted to express. And I was like, man, yeah, you should just do that in regular. I think you should just do that in regular interviews. Just anytime you speak to anybody, speak to them like you're speaking to your mother. And you the champ. If they can't get it, fuck them. That's on them. I just speak the way you speak. Let your language flow from the inside out, and don't interrupt it with your brain, because that's what's happening. You are interrupting language. Like, I don't want to tell him he's fucking up, but you are fucking it up. But that's essentially what it is. You're fucking it up because you are flying, man. Like, you're flying. When you're speaking, you're flying. Just think about a bird and somebody going to a bird and saying, "Oh, I don't like the way you're flapping your wings." You're not supposed to flap your wings at that pace. You're supposed to flap this one 3 times, then this one once. Why? Because we say so. Right? That's what language is to a human. A human being, language is like flying is to a bird. We are not taught to do that. And what Chomsky talked about was just, and if you don't believe that, think about this. And it was a great example he used. How much of your language is used to talk, to communicate to other people? Right? Like, think about this. What percentage of your time, of the amount of communicate or language that you use is used to communicate with other people? Noam Chomsky said it's less than 5% of your communication is used to communicate with other people. 95%, or whatever number he gave, but it was way up in the 90s. He said it's used for you to solve problems in your own head. We sit and we think. Language is a product of thought. So we're in our head thinking about how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that, imagining scenarios, at being, being depressed about one thing, getting on, but all that stuff that goes on our brain, we're using language. And then every once in a while, we'll speak to somebody else to communicate an idea that language was used to develop in our head. So when people tell you don't speak properly, that's like one bird telling another bird that they don't fly properly. You get what I'm saying? Just be yourself and let that shit flow. They do. They speak like that's how they speak. Okay, that's how they speak because that's the area that they're from. Those are the words that they choose to use in their. When I heard that interview, that's the thing. And the more I listened to it, the more I was like, okay, yeah, this is making sense to me. Because he also talked about some things like think it, believe it, receive it. And like that power man, dog, I'm telling you, man, that dude right there, that's a special. I believe that's a real dude right there, man. And that's not related to anything about boxing. It's just listening to how he thought, the power that this guy has. Like, my son keeps telling me not to talk so loud. Like, Dad, why do you keep speaking so loud? And I was like, because I got testicles, man. This is how I speak. I project when I speak. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. Well, will you speak to me? And I think that boxing is a great thing. And fuck all that. I ain't about to do that. I'm gonna let you know what I think, and it's gonna come out. And that's what I think. I mean, Deontay Wilder does a great job of that, man. So anyway, I just want to say that. Life was said, do you think Wilder has advisors telling him to sound proper for white fans so he could be more marketable? I don't think so. I think that's him. I think that's him doing it. That's my belief. I mean, maybe somebody says that to him, but ultimately with a guy like that, that's up to him. Somebody could tell him, but he would have to decide to do it. So, but I don't know. I just think he's trying to communicate it. I think he's just trying to communicate. And you can't help but communicate in certain ways. I mean, he's always putting on, he's definitely a performer. So, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. All I know is in that second half of that interview, his communication, the effectiveness of his communication in approved by 80%. Like right away. It was like not right away, but as soon as he started sitting back and he started using, when he said, I'm setting up, like he said this, he said, I'm setting up my money. And I was like, he said setting up. That's Alabama shit right there. Like I'm setting up my money. That shit might actually confuse somebody from New York. So what do you mean you're setting up your money? You're setting up to that shit's a practical way. He's literally doing. He's setting it up for the future. But that's a phrase that he uses, that his parents used or his friends used, that he's heard in his area because it was so natural to him. There was no hesitation in it. It was the free flow of an idea communicated in the way that he's used to communicating it. And the fluidity of it was perfectly fluid. But if he had tried to stop and use banker's language and say, I intend to invest in the future, I want to increase my whatever, then he has to stop, right? Then he has to think What was the word that I've heard them use before? Oh, they used it. It's like you're speaking in a different language. You know, it's like all of a sudden you're speaking English, but then you got to stop and and throw a word out in Spanish every once in a while. You're going to mispronounce the word. You might use it out of context. And then the people that speak Spanish are going to be like, he don't really know what he means. Ha, ha, ha. But if you just speak English, then it's on them to understand. And if they don't understand, that's their fucking fault. You communicated your shit clearly to everybody that understands. That's at least that's how I see it. I'm not fucking around doing shit else but speaking the way that I speak. And a lot of my shit is incorrect. A lot of it. If I wrote, because here's the thing. Nobody writes like they speak. There is grammar that's on the paper, but then there is the spoken word. They're two different things. When you're writing something, there are some commonly accepted rules so that we can have a universal understanding about what's on the piece of paper, like periods and commas, right? Ellipses, capitalizing the first sentence to designate that these are all separate thoughts. You know what I mean? That's the written word. That's not how people speak. That's not how people speak. Nobody does. And I'm telling you, if you took any fluid sentence, right, the transcript from anybody speaking, and put that on a piece of paper and handed it in as is, they would get an F in grammar. Because nobody's doing this. Nobody speaks like you write. And that's why a lot of people get bad grades in English, because they're speaking like they write. I mean, they're writing like they speak. The two are they're different. You know what I mean? They're different. Which brings me back to the original point of this video. Sorry, man, that's it on my link. That's amateur ass in linguistics for boxing right now. Yep, the written word is powerful, but so is the spoken word. The spoken word is more powerful than the written word. Spoken word is much more powerful. Much more powerful. Because there's vibrations with the spoken voice. Much more powerful. You literally feel the spoken voice. Think it, believe it, receive it. And I won't get into that, but that dude gonna fuck around, get burned at the stake. He keep talking like that. What's good, Tony Snowflakes? But anyway, let's get to this. So somebody asked me, said a lot of these younger generation don't even know how to spell to make a complete sentence. No, they don't. But whatever, because they're not living in a world where you have to do that. You're not writing letters and all that shit. You FaceTiming, homie. If the only way you could communicate was writing, their writing would improve. Everybody's capable of it. This shit ain't that complicated. Jay Good, my man. Much love in that super chat. As long as I can comprehend what you're saying, it's all good. That's all you need. But people want to be snobs about this shit. I mean, I don't see the reason why that most people can understand me is because I'm from the Midwest. Listen to 78. People on both coasts of the United States can understand 78 because he's from the Midwest. We're pretty much, we have almost no accent. California have an accent, even though theirs is a little less, but they've got their accent. But you can be like, yeah, you're a California dude. Kind of, and then New York's got a heavy accent. The South have heavy accents. But that's why most of the people who are like journalists or who are on TV announcers, a lot of these guys come from the Midwest because we really don't have an accent. Our accent in the United States is very neutral. For now, the premise that we have created our own societal privilege with our interactive cultures over the centuries was thought-provoking. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you like that, Gregory Wyatt. Appreciate that. We did. I believe it. Hoisted on our own petard. And as a result, they've got a cultural memory, and they are not going to forgive you for it. That's my take on that. Yeah, but I'll break it down more on the Patreon. I'll break that down more on the Patreon. My wife, a student that fast Creole talk, you never understand what the heck she's saying. Oh, yeah. Now New Orleans got like 5 or 6 different accents. Like they got like one dude from over the out east sounds like somebody sounds different than Metairie. I mean, I was like, it's like they've got significant shifts in their accents depending on where in New Orleans they're from. That's really weird to me. Say baby. I love that one. Say baby. Salute for 9 to Don and Land in that building. What's going on, Matt Rainey? Yes, sir. So anyway, man, let me get to this boxing, man. Matt, did anybody see the video that was put out by Rummy's Corner? Somebody asked me about that. If you guys have not seen it, I wanted to make a correction to Rummy's Corner. And if Rummy's Corner is looking, yeah, you saw that? Dog. See, I like his corner. Now, let me say I like his channel. They said, Fanon, I speak different. It depends on who I'm hanging with. Yeah, it does. I mean, if I'm at work, it doesn't change for me. It really doesn't. Like, I might not cuss, depending on who it is. Okay, so you saw the answer to Rage. Let me tell you where this is what I thought of that. Because a lot of people are going to be happy that he complimented Deontay Wilder. But just from a factual standpoint, he made some very big errors. And for me, now look, everybody can make factual errors. If you have somebody that's with you, they can correct them. That happens all the time to me. I might say this boxer's name when I mean that boxer's name. But what he said about Joe Frazier just was an overlooking of something major that happened. He mentioned in that video that Joe Frazier had defended his belt 9 times. That is not true. He said his title reign began with the New York State Athletic Commission's belt, and then the NBA belt and the NYAC belt were absorbed by. We're at the end of the process of being absorbed by the WBA and the WBC. That phrase right there was not just a mistake, but a fundamental misunderstanding of how the boxing of that time. It's a fundamental misunderstanding. That's not just an error. That's a fundamental misunderstanding. Because first, Joe Frazier fought for the vacant NYAC. Let me tell you what the truth is. Let me tell you what the circumstance is. If you go to BoxRec, and I challenge that you do, right? I'll tell you to go to your sources. First, let's talk about this. The NAYC, the NBA, is the WBA. Okay, so let's do the first part. The NBA is the WBA. That wasn't absorbed. The name was changed. In the late 1950s, when the National Basketball Association started taking off with the Boston Celtics and all of that, the NBA, the National Boxing Association, changed their name to the World Boxing Association. That's not absorption. That's just a rebranding. That's a renaming because they didn't want to be confused for the basketball NBA. Okay? So to say that the WBA was absorbed, that the NBA was absorbed by that the NBA was absorbed by the WBA, that means that the NBA existed, the WBA existed, and then the NBA went inside of or was absorbed by the WBA. That's not true. All that happened was the NBA took an N off the front of their name and replaced it by a W. Other than that, they're the same organization. Secondly, they couldn't have been absorbed by the WBA and the WBC because the WBC came from the WBA. So what they're doing was that he was saying the mistake that he made was saying that there were three different entities that were all developed independently of one another. And that's just not the truth. The NBA became the WBA, and the WBC broke off from the WBA. So that is what I'm saying. That's just a fundamental misunderstanding of how those belts were developed by Rummy's Corner. No harm in that. That's just not. It could have been that he just used the wrong words. It could have been that he just used the wrong words. He in his editing, right, when he was when he was editing it, he might have misphrased it, but he didn't misphrase this. This is something he missed that's huge. He said that the title reign of Joe Frazier started with the New York State Athletic Commission belt, right? He said it started with that. Here's the problem. Can anybody tell me who the last champion before Joe Frazier was for the New York State for the NYAC belt? Who that was? Quiz. I know we ain't going to get a lot of views on this channel. We're getting boxing nerdish here. But can anybody tell me, and feel free to use BoxRec. Can anybody tell me who the champion was? The last champion was. Nope, not Jimmy Ellis. Nope, go to BoxRec. You're not going to guess it. You're going to have to go to BoxRec. No worry, you have to go to BoxRec. Somebody got a computer? You're going to have to go to BoxRec. And when you see the name, oh no, there was somebody before him. I'll give it 10 more seconds. See if anybody can get it. See how fast people's fingers can run. Nope, not Ernie Terrell. Nope. Ask again, who was the last NYAC champion, heavyweight? Kevin Brooks, heavyweight champion before Joe Frazier. Remember, Joe Frazier won it in 1968. All right, nobody could guess. Joe Louis in 1938. Joe Louis. Nope, Joe Louis in 1938. The New York State Athletic Committee, that belt had been inactive for 30 years when Joe Frazier won it in 1968. Now, do you know why they redid it? Because they suspended Ali and they wanted to give him a belt. That's all it was. So for Rummy's Corner to say he has 9 title defenses, they're counting a belt that had been inactive for 30 years. 30 years. How could that be, Rummy? How could that be? I'll tell you why. Because when they stripped Muhammad Ali for some racist bullshit, they had the Ernie Terrell fight for the vacant New York NYAC belt that had been vacant for 30 years. But so when Rummy says that he had 9 title defenses, if that's his name, Rummy, when Rummy Corner said he had 9 title defenses, he's counting 4 NYAC belts. That's not even a major championship belt. That's less than the IBO is today. It was a regional belt. And it's a regional belt at that. Right? They just pulled the shit out their ass is what they did and gave it to and put it on the line so that they could say that Jimmy Ellis and Joe Frazier was a championship belt. And then eventually Joe Frazier won the WBA and the WBC belt. But he only defended that 4 times. He successfully defended that 4 times. He lost, he won, he got it, whatever he got it against, that's 1. That's not a defense. And the one that he lost it against Joe Frazier is not a defense. So he had 4 fights. So when you talk about the title reign of Deontay Wilder, it's twice as long. It's over twice as long as Joe Frazier's title reign. He's by stating in that way, he's understating it. And the other thing is he keeps talking about claims to the lineage. What the fuck are you talking about with the claim to lineage? But anyway, I'm not going to get into the rest of that, but I just wanted to say that's why you should do your own research. And when you hear a video like that, just go through and just check everything that's said. You'll learn a lot because you'll catch things all the time. Everybody's a boxing historian, man. But hey, man, just go look it up. Can anybody verify the last NWAC champion before Joe Frazier? It's Joe Louis. Third, how would that be a lineage? Right? Because his argument is that you have to be in the lineage. Well, not his argument. He's kind of just pushing off on that, but yeah, man, dude, Tyson Fury ain't no lineal champion. That fucker is the ex-ring champion. Hey, hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. That was work. Rummy's Corner, not a bad site. No, it's not bad at all. I mean, I don't watch all those things. Fanon putting out a hit. No, not on Rummy's Corner. I think he's that's honest. Dude, he's not doing shit like Dan Rayfield. No, don't get me wrong. Somebody just asked me about it. So I answered the question. They're like, what do you think about it? Somebody sent me and asked me what I thought about it. So I got about halfway through and he was walking backwards, right? And he was actually making a good argument. It's like, no, this is his reign is his reign. It's the WBC belt. And he's held that belt for 10 times. And basically the state of boxing we've been in has been this way since the 1980s, where there's been more than one belt. We've actually had more than one belt since the early 60s, but up until they never got split until I do believe the late 1970s. So if you want to talk about the reign of Lennox Lewis I just think his thing is too much on lineage. I think that shit's gone. I think the lineage is gone. And it is broken up on purpose. And the beginning of it is fuzzy too. It's fuzzy in the beginning and it's fuzzy at the end. You know what I mean? So I'm like, pretty much what it is. But yeah, he's just the ring champion. That's what he is. That's what he is. He's the ex-ring champion. That's all it is. The lineage that they're talking about with Tyson Fury is the ring lineage. And you can hear it when they say things like the word, and you have to have very careful ears. When they say consensus, as soon as you put the word consensus in it, a lineal can't apply. As soon as you put consensus in the word, or most people believe, or it's most commonly attributed to, when they start using that word, it's gone. Then you're done. Because lineal is the man that beat the man. It's not subjective, right? Consensus is subjectivity, right? Some people think this, some people think that, but most people think this. That's a consensus, right? Right? A consensus means a bunch of people, so a number of people, and most of them think that this is the case. Other people think that is the case. That is talking about people's opinions when you bring that word consensus into it. So, but the purpose of a lineage is line. It's a line. The purpose of it is to take subjectivity out of it. You take subjectivity out of it to the fullest extent possible. So you cannot have something, you cannot assign something that's actual purpose is to eliminate subjectivity from the question of who the champion is. You cannot have that be completely based on consensus. That's oxymoronic. The two are at odds with one another. So that's what I'm saying. You listen for these words, listen to the words that they use. The consensus of most people think. Right there, you know. Well, if most people think, there's people that don't think. So what's right and what's wrong? It's dependent on what people think. It's not dependent on who beat who. Who beat who? This guy, who's the undisputed champion, beat everybody. Well, he's the champ. He's the best because he beat everybody, right? So just assume that this was possible, that one guy could literally beat every fighter in boxing, and he's beating them all in a row, and there's nobody left. Well, he's the champion. It doesn't matter anything else. Okay, it doesn't matter who won belts and who did this and that before. He literally beat every boxer that is currently fighting, right? Wouldn't that be the case? So it's the man who beat the man. When Lennox Lewis beat everybody that had any claim to it. That's not the case with Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko did not beat everybody that had a claim. He didn't beat Vitaly. And these guys are going through all kind of mental masturbation to make the argument that he did when it's readily apparent that he didn't. They didn't fight. So how could he, if Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly Klitschko were both champions at the same time, how could one of them be the champion if they never fought? Gab 5, Tyson Fury never had a lineal championship. He lost the ring title. He never lost the lineal. He never had it. You can't lose what you never had. He beat Vladimir Klitschko, who never had it. Vladimir Klitschko didn't get that shit. He never had it. You can't get it. What you guys are doing is you're conflating ring and lineal. And you're saying, well, ring represents the consensus of fight fans. No. Just kick rocks. Tyson Fury is not a champion. Tyson Fury has never even stepped into the ring as a champion. Do you realize that? Do you realize that this is a true statement? Tyson Fury has never walked into a boxing ring as a champion. Tell me I'm lying. Has Tyson Fury ever walked in the ring as a champion of any organization? Never. He has never walked in the ring a champion. How can this guy be? How can he be the number one heavyweight when he's never walked in the ring a champion? Let me tell you all the fighters that are currently fighting right now that have done what Tyson Fury has never done. Deontay Wilder has walked in the ring a champion 10 times. Joseph Parker walked into the ring a champion at least 2 times. Charles Martin walked into the ring a champion at least 1 time. Anthony Joshua walked into the ring a champion at least 6 times. How can Tyson Fury be the number 1 heavyweight in the world when he's not done something that Charles Martin has done or Joseph Parker has done? Or Bermain Stavern has done. How? Never, ever walked into the ring a champion. But they will tell you he's the lineal champion of the world. He won 1 championship fight. 1. In 5 years, he's beaten 1 champion. 1. In 5 years, he's fought 1 guy that you would consider to be a top fighter. 1. Since 2015, man. Since 2015. Yeah, Ruiz walked away a champion, but he's going to walk. But I'm not talking about walking away a champion. Tyson Fury walked out of the ring a champion. He walked out of the ring a champion, but he never walked back in the ring a champion. He went into another championship fight without a belt, without being a champion, walked in not being a champion, walked out not being a champion. But they want to reward him for that. He's not a champion, period. They're doing for Tyson Fury the same thing they did for the winner of Joe Frazier, Jimmy Ellis, for the NWAC belt. Rummy's Corner treated the NWAC, a belt that had been vacant for 30 years. 30 years. As a legitimate title defense of a major championship belt. Though the belt had been vacant for 3 decades. Yeah, he won the vacant title, but he walked into the ring against Deontay Wilder as a champion. He got into the ring. He got into the ring. A champion. Tyson Fury dropped all his belts and went on tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, number 1. Number 1, he popped dirty, and I do believe he popped dirty after the Vladimir Klitschko fight. You have to check the facts on this, and I really do ask you, but I do believe after the Vladimir Klitschko fight, he tested positive. So he got into the ring against Vitaly Klitschko under the influence of performance-enhancing drugs to win that belt. Right? He was on the juice, the 1 championship he won. Come on, man. But you got people that are putting him over Deontay Wilder. Now, the thing that I did like about, oh, man, I'm tripping. Let me get to the super chats, dude. I missed several of them up. My bad. Hold on, man. These guys working out on this insurance shit ain't got nothing to do with me. I have no idea who these employees are. Hold on. But I'm going to go to, I'm talking business. Oops, sorry. Yeah. I gotta check the super chats real quick, man. I appreciate you guys so much for the support. Give me one more second. It's coming up. It's kind of slow. Oh, God. It'll be up in a second. Let me get to this comment section. The ones I can see, and then I'll go back. My man TC Christ said they question Wilder when Fury ain't defended Jack. Yeah, pretty much. Corey Patch says Sleuth and I speak the truth. Real belt versus invisible belt. Yeah. It's just, come on, man. But they invent, that's what I'm saying. It's not the first time they've invented shit. I mean, even after Muhammad Ali, and this is shout out to Blood Boxing, after Muhammad Ali lost to Joe Frazier, Bob Arum and those guys promoting them as the people's champ. These belts are just, I mean, at the end of the day, they're really just two guys in the ring fighting, you know? But people always want to sell stuff as a championship fight. So they wind up just making up stuff, man. wind up just making stuff up. Like, hey, you know, whatever. If we can't find a championship, we'll make one up. You know? We can't find it, we'll make one up. Okay, here, I got it now. Gregory, no, I think I did get everybody. Oh, no, did I see our salute to our champ? No, I didn't. I missed some. Okay, so today's the 26th, right? Or is today the 27th? Today's the 27th. Okay, salute Brian Knight, man. Much love, man. I appreciate you. Says Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. I watch daily at work, but I'm not able to support, man. That's all good, man. I appreciate you, man. Gabe 5 said, salute for wrenches are earned, not given. Sonny's Boxing Talk says, salute to our champ, the Bronze Bomber. Yes, sir. Jay Good says, salute to you. Gregory White, Fanon, the premise that we have created our own societal prison with our intercultural reactions over the century was thought-provoking. Thank you very much. Yeah, man. I'm going to get into that in more depth, man, on the Patreon. And thank you to the new Patreons. I appreciate you. Some of these subjects I know are not like sensational, but I think that they're very educational. I think that they're very important. I do, and I think you'll get a lot out of them. Corey Patch says, salute for speak the truth, real belt versus the invisible belt. And TC the Crisis, they question Wilder when Fury ain't defended Jack. Exactly, dude. Exactly. What's going on, Ohio Runs Boxing? What's going on? Fury scammed his way through the heavyweight division. Oh, right now he is. Right now he's scamming. Did you see this? Hey, and look, man, these guys this is a journalist, though. Now, I will tell you, when I tell you guys, look, man, pay attention to the words. Pay attention to the words that people use. Dan Rayfield is a good writer. That motherfucker can write because he slipped some shit in a way that he didn't incriminate. Like he couldn't incriminate himself because he didn't actually say it, but he's put it in a way where you could be led to believe he said something that he didn't say. So if you ever went back to him and be like, oh man, you said this, he could say, no, I didn't say that. I said this, right? So let me go to my phone and tell you what I'm talking about. There's a lot of cats in the LDBC were going back and forth about this, but I want to point this out. Because it's educational and it's fun for me because I like this. I'm a big fan of wordsmithing. I can appreciate excellent wordsmithing. Okay, so this is what the Bleacher Report said, right? I'm going to read you something from the Bleacher Report. It said that, watch this, because the guy didn't actually say this. Where is it at? Per Dan Rayfield, Wilder and Fury were obligated to fight twice against other opponents before a rematch. A third fight is also forthcoming. Listen to this. This is what they say. Per Dan Rayfield, Wilder and Fury were obligated to fight twice against other opponents before a rematch. Listen, follow me, St. Cruising. When somebody said that, they were like, they sent it to the group. And they said, man, somebody needs to roast Dan Rayfield for saying this because this isn't true, right? And I was like, all right, please send me the article where Dan Rayfield actually said it. Because if this is true, if he said this is true, I don't believe it. Because think of how ridiculous this is. That Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury would enter into an agreement where because the operative word is obligated, right? Obliged. You must do this, right? Like you're obligated to pay me if I fight you. That's an obligation. right? They're obligated to fight twice. Means that either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder said, yes, we will fight, but you have to fight 2 times before I fight you. Now, let's assume that that's true and that Tyson Fury is the one that asked for it. Because I believe if it's true, and I don't believe it is, but if it is true, Tyson Fury is the one that would have asked for that. Because Tyson Fury is the one that dropped out of the rematch originally. Why would you ask this? Why would you insist that somebody fights 2 times before they fight you? All that does is increase the likelihood that that person's going to lose and the fight never takes place. Right? Why would you say obligated? Why would you put that in agreement? Now, I work with, people know I work with agreements all the time. When you ask for something to be in an agreement, there's a reason for it. If I wanted to fight somebody, I would make sure that there was no impediments to the fight being made. To say that somebody has to fight twice makes it less likely that the fight's going to happen. So whoever really put that in there was just hoping that the guy lost and he could get out of it. And the guy that would accept it would be like, okay, yeah, I'll make sure I fight twice. But if I get through these 2 fights, you have to fight me. Just assume that that's the truth, right? So that's where I started. But at the very least, what it does is by reporting it this way, gives an excuse to Tyson Fury for having fought 2 bums. As if Deontay Wilder agreed that he should fight 2 bums before the rematch, and it makes it sound mutual. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to get ready to fry Dan Rayfield. Because number 1, I don't believe it's true. And number 2, if it is true, that's Tyson Fury more than likely hoping Deontay Wilder loses. But they sent me with what Dan Rayfield actually said. And I was like, yeah, you wordsmithing like a mug here, boy. Where did it go? Okay, hold on. It's in a link, so give me a second. Here, it's Bleacher Report. Okay, dang, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It was on ESPN. I thought that I had a copy of it in my thing. But basically what he did was Dan Rayfield, the truth of it is that Dan Rayfield never said that. What Dan Rayfield said was Dan Rayfield actually conflated, like he likes to do, conflated 2 things, put them in the same paragraph. He said that they agreed to have the fight, and it was agreed that they would both have 2 fights in between. By putting it in the sentence where he talked about a contractual obligation, it would lead you to believe that those 2 fights were also part of the agreement. But he did it without actually ever saying it. So I was like, yeah, nah, he said it. And it could lead you to believe that that was the case, but it wasn't actually the case. You know what I mean? So long story short, I wasn't able to really get on. I appreciate the skill, though. But he definitely tried. He didn't, I'll put it this way. He didn't avoid the confusion by clearly stating that was not in the agreement. And the fact that he put it in the middle of a paragraph talking about contractual obligations could lead somebody else to believe that's what he said. Sneaky bastard. I thought I was going to be able to fry him. But the Bleacher Report saying they quoted Dan Rayfield as saying that, they're not telling the truth. The Bleacher Report, that's not what Dan Rayfield said. Is there a reason I called it a theory of lineal? Oh, it is is it a theory? It's a myth. I mean, a theory is cool. It's opinion at this point. It's just an opinion. Because I have an opinion about who I think who is the champion. They have an opinion Ring was vacant. Vitaly and Sanders 1 and 2. Yeah, the Ring vacated their title after and then I think he became the whatever. Fuck the Ring. Fuck the Ring. Sorry, that's all I gotta say about Ring. They're owned by Oscar De La Hoya. Call it the Oscar De La Hoya belt, and that's how I'm gonna start phrasing it. It's the belt that is owned by Oscar De La Hoya. That's who it is. Oscar De La Hoya named Vladimir Klitschko the lineal champion. He owns the magazine that named it. He pays the bills. He owns the rights to all of their materials. Julian Jackson or Canelo has more power. Right now, I mean, it depends. Who really? I mean, naturally or steroid induced? But I'll definitely go with Julian Jackson. But either one. But man, come on, man. He's a steroid abuser, man. I'm done with Canelo. After that crap, I'm done. After the Kovalev fight, I was done. There's only so much of that dude that I'm gonna There's only so much of that shit that I'm gonna go with, okay? The Zone Boxing right now has absolutely, they could care less about steroid abuse on their network. Dillian White is under the shadow of performance enhancement of a PED test. He's going to be fighting on the Zone, and they know fully well that he is. Julio Cesar Chavez is just suspended by Nevada State Athletic Commission for a fight with for skipping out on a drug test. All DAZN and Eddie Hearn did was change the venue. And they had Canelo Alvarez out there on looking like fucking Lou Ferrigno. Okay? Just stop it. I'm done. Okay? If you can have your opinion about who the lineal champion is, who the real champion is, even though the guy's never walked in the ring a champion in his whole career, even if he can be the man about some fight that happened 5 years ago that was sanctioned by Oscar De La Hoya, if you can put that shit out there, then I can convict Canelo Alvarez of being a fucking bodybuilder on my own with no proof, okay? Because that shit is just as realistic as your determination about the lineal champion. It's ridiculous. Anyway, though. Retarded question, Jackson. It's not a retarded question. That's a reasonable question. Because you have to wonder who is. I mean, if you allow a guy to go in there pumped to the gills on dope, Canelo Alvarez might be a harder puncher. I mean, he's evidence of the miracle of modern day doping. Yeah, exactly. Says, shout out to Lou Ferrigno. You still think the Hulk. Dude, that's what he do. That's all the Hulk was. Juiced up on steroids. That's what he is. That's what Captain America is. Captain America is on steroids. Did you ever think about that? That's what they're doing. Oh, hey, we got a super athlete here. He can now run faster than anybody. He never gets tired. Ain't that Captain America? Captain America was on steroids. That's what he is. They're selling the guy is on steroids. That's it. That's all he is. He's a dude on dope. What's the difference? Same thing with the Hulk. Gamma radiation. That's what Canelo Alvarez is on gamma radiation and shit. Like he on that gamma. He on that special Bruce Banner type shit. Okay, he might hit that dude that hard. You know what I mean? So you can ask me, who do you dude? You get this dude enough dope, he might hit harder than Deontay Wilder. Better defense, Willie Pepper, Pacquiao. Come on, man. Did Willie Pepper ever get put flat out on his face? Willie Pep, man, easy. Willie Pep a better fighter than Manny Pacquiao. Willie Pep was the truth. That dude's highly skilled. Willie Pep. Hell for nine, I never thought about Captain America that way. Yeah, man, that dude's doping, man. That dude's doping, dude. That's where that shit was developed, the military. Wasn't it? Trying to find a way for soldiers to run faster, stay up later. They don't need as much sleep. All of that, man. A lot of that stuff was developed by the military, man. You know, private. You know how it goes. Public expenses, private profit. Public expense and private property and private profit. That's the name of that game. He said, Fanon, you see the Golden Boy dropped Canelo? Dropped Canelo into what? Consejo? Oh, no, Consejo. Yeah, I saw that. My bad. I misread. You talking about, yeah, I saw. He was talking all that ish, lost, and threw his ass out. That's how it happens. The whole thing makes sense, especially when you think of roid rage. Dude, that's what it is. That's where they get the ideas from, man. The real world, homie. The man, though, I swear to goodness, y'all need to watch Watchmen. That Watchmen, that last episode of Watchmen, man, I think that was one of the best. That's one of the best episodes that I've ever seen on TV. Because I was like, wow, y'all really going to go there? Wow, y'all going to go there like that. Oh, but don't worry, they're going to turn it. Hey, JB, don't get too happy. You know they're going to turn it around, okay? Just so you know. They're going to turn it around. Right now, you think it's good. They're going to turn that around, dog. They're going to get this smoke. They about to turn that around. And it's all, they're going to turn all that around. Trust me. They're going to turn that around. He's the bad guy. They'll be the bad guy. And she will overcome her temptation to side with the bad guys. Just remember that. They do, but they always sell out at the end. HBO always sells out at the end. Just like they sold out with Game of Thrones, dog. It's HBO. Just like they sold out with HBO. Right? They sold out with HBO. No, we need the status quo. We need this. No rebellion. No rebellion. The person that was going to set everybody free, she's really the tyrant that we have to get rid of. You know, that shit. No, I don't agree on the Game of Thrones, man. We can talk about that all day. I promise you, dog. They sold that. This was the person that was going to free and break the wheel. Instead of freeing and breaking the wheel, she turned into a tyrant that burned down a whole city full of innocent kids and babies because she got mad. Okay? She was setting people free all throughout the world, freed slavery in Marine, free slavery here and there, was in position to, but then at the end of it, went insane and firebombed an entire city. You don't think she ended up the bad guy? She wound up being the worst tyrant of them all because she just skipped to it and burned everybody down. Anyway, though, Targaryen, you know they crazy. Yeah, but dog, she just went off the deep end a little too quick. Like in an episode. Shouldn't have killed that. Hey, shouldn't have killed that sexy black chick, though. That's the problem, though. Yeah, the Azor Ahai, all that stuff is like, but anyway, man, I don't want to get into too much of that, man. What's going on, Stephon Bailey? But look, man, I'm about to roll out of here. It is 12. I'll see y'all tomorrow on Thanksgiving. I hope y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving very much. We can do the TV talk later, but yeah, the Watchmen is very good so far, but watch, they're going to turn that around, dog. They're going to turn that around, okay? Because that dude went hardcore, dude. He ain't getting away with that on American TV. I cannot believe it, okay? I cannot believe it. I think, here's my conspiracy, I think they assassinated John Witherspoon so he couldn't play the voice of Pops on the remake of Boondocks. I think there was a John I think there's a John Witherspoon assassination, dog, because he was about to be back on Boondocks, dude. And now we don't have the voice. We don't have the voice of Boondocks. Rest in peace, John Witherspoon, man. I was looking forward to Boondocks coming back, but no. Now you got to find a new voice for Pops. I don't know how they're going to do that. It was a shame. Fanon been reading and listening to Civilized, The Death of the Man. I understand what you're talking about. We did it to ourselves. Can't wait for you to drop your ideas on Patreon. Yeah, you saw that? Hey, you like it? You like it? Original thought. Original, because that is a combination of all of those guys. Yes, sir. Yep, never should have been canceled. You know, there were some stories about how, about how they wanted, I forget what it was. Like, they wanted a guy, because he wanted to work slow on it, and they wanted a bunch of episodes right away. Said, I never watched Boondocks, but I wanted him in that new Friday movie. Oh, you've never watched Boondocks? You gotta watch Boondocks. Boondocks is a woo. Yeah, I watched Westworld. Pop's character will probably pass away on the cartoon. Yeah, man, but he's like, he ain't near made the show. In a certain way, he makes the show. But there's a lot of other good ones. Said, love it for now. Thank you, LL. Lowest common denominator boxing, home of the US. I'm telling you, join the Patreon. The intellectual food is high class. Okay, we tried to go high class on the intellectual content over on the Patreon. You know how we do. Anyway, it is what it is. Much love to everybody in the super chat. And with that, I'm out. Peace. Yeah, you gotta watch the Boondocks, man.